On this coordinate plane, I've drawn the green line, which is a vertical line, and the pink line, which is a horizontal line. These are kind of special cases. So for the green line, let me plot a couple points. This point right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, comma 2. This point up here is 7, comma 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 7, comma 7. This point up here is 7, comma 9. This point down here is 7, comma negative 2. This point here is 7, comma negative 5. As you can see, something is constant for each of these points. The x term, because the coordinates are x, comma y, the x terms are all the same. So the equation of my green line is x equals 7. It's as simple as that. The x coordinate is the same for each of the points on the line, so the line is x equals 7. Now let's take the horizontal line. Let me identify a few points here. This is negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is negative 5, comma negative 4. This point right here is 0, comma negative 4. This point right here is 3, comma negative 4. This point right here is 3, 6, comma negative 4. You're sensing another pattern here too. The y values are all the same. They're all negative 4, negative 4, negative 4. So the equation of this horizontal line is y equals, again, because the coordinates are x, comma y equals negative 4. And again, for the vertical line, all of the x values were the same. X was 7 in this case, so the equation was x equals 7. Okay, let's go over a few quick definitions right here. For parallel lines, parallel lines are lines that do not intersect. Parallel lines have the same slopes. It's very important. Parallel lines have the same slopes. What about perpendicular lines? Perpendicular lines are lines that intersect at right angles or 90-degree angles. The slopes of perpendicular lines are negative reciprocals. So let's take a look at two examples here for parallel and perpendicular lines. I've drawn a coordinate plane and I've drawn 3 lines right here. These are all parallel lines because they do not intersect. Let's take a look at the slope of each one. Again, the slope is the change in y for every change in x. So for the top line right here, the slope, change negative 2 in y for every positive 1 in the x direction. So the slope of the top line is negative 2 over 1, or negative 2. Let's take a look at the middle line right here. Let me pick 2 points. Let's pick this point and this point. Again, changing 2 in the y direction, negative 2 over positive 1 in the x direction, also a slope of -2. Let me take a look at the bottom line. Let's pick this point here, and let's go to this point here. Changing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the y direction for every 1, 2, 3, 4 in the x direction, which simplifies to -2/1, or -2. So these lines are parallel, and as a result, their slopes are all -2. So parallel lines have the exact same slopes. Let's take a look at perpendicular lines. As defined earlier, perpendicular lines are lines that intersect and form right angles or 90-degree angles. Let's take a look at the slopes of these lines. So this line right here, the slope is rise -2, change -2 in the right direction for every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the positive x direction. The slope of this line is -2/5. The slope of the other line is, let's take a look at this point to this point right here. We change 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for every 1, 2, 3, 4. The slope here is 10/4, which simplifies to 5/2. So these two lines are perpendicular. They meet at a 90-degree angle, and their slopes are not the same. The slopes are the negative reciprocal. So reciprocal means the reciprocal of 5/2 is 2/5, and it must be the negative reciprocal, as you can see here. So if one slope is 5/2, the slope of a line perpendicular to that is the reciprocal, which is 2/5, and -2/5. Thanks and good luck with the problems.